Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from the group number three. In will present our presentation. The title is Lexical Relation to Fulfillment and Assignment Presentation Tasks of the Semantic Study. Before we start, we would like to thanks to Ma'am Yenti as the regular of this study that giving us the time and chance to intro to presentation to present our presentation. The title is the lexical relation. Before we start, I will introduce our group. My name is Jovian Agustia. I'm as a speakers, and the other is Rosa Sasnia as the speakers, M Alpha jadi as a speakers, Rabbu Sari as speakers, Ratumas Milaawati as the speakers, and Adinda Rizka Susanti as the speakers. Well, we start our presentation. Before this, you can see this is a very good question, very good quote. This quote, word full of the wisdom that so much important said and can make the reader get inspired. So something our words can make the reader get inspired, but uh, the not much word, but very special words that have the wisdom can make the reader get inspired. In the lexical, we cannot talk about the what is the lexical is in the widely, but we can talk about the lexical reference, relation, synonym, antonym. Okay, what is a lexical relationship? Lexical relationships are the relationship between the meaning of words. Lexical semantics are introduced including the traditional distinction between reference and sense, the mental lexicon as a network, and the various type of the meaning relation between the words. The true condition between the semantic studies and the lexical relationship comparing production that can be made about the same reference expression. Takes to account for the meaning relation between the different expression in a language. So different expression in the different language have the characteristic itself. The three such relation are enfilment, paraphrase, and contradiction. Okay, that's all for me to introduce the body lexical. I will have the and I will give a time for the next presentation. Please.
So thanks for the moderators to give my time. And so I will discuss about the lexical item. So what is lexical item? So lexical item is created through correspondence between this distinct representation. So lexical correspondent with the elements or the item of this one. It's phonological, syntax, and conceptual. That relation between the rules of the elements, and this conception of representational modularity at the lexical interface with other cognitive system is compatible with evidence from speech processing research. And next is lexical relations. So lexical relation is relationship between the meaning of the word. So this is the varieties of lexical relation, which is there is a hyponymy, synonymy, antonymy, and polysemy, and homonymy that will explain by my next partner.
And next, guys, about types of lexical relations. In number one, there are hyponymy. So, hyponymy involves the nation of inclusion, and hyponymy is similar to the nation of embeddedness, meaning the semantics of one subject, not subject but object, is implied by another. We know homonyms are unrelated meanings of words that that either sound the same. Homophones are written the same homographs. Example of homophones of the word right and word correct, and the slow below with links between simplified phonological, syntactic, and conceptual structure. And for example, there tulip and rose are included in flower, and lion and elephant in the mammal. And this is hyponymy is the term to refer to a set or a group of words that are included in higher term or word. For example, this is about example about mammally, not mammally, but about but about hyponymy. And next, about synonymy. So this is about synonymy. As we know, synonymy is sameness of meaning which not relate to the conceptual meaning of words, but relation of words which have the same conceptual meaning. And synonyms is words that have the same conceptual meaning, like an elevator and live, gala and festivity, or Mervis and Trust in Palmer 1982. Some examples you can see in here are mountain or hill, big or lake, marvelous or wonderful, and teeny or small, far or distant, and horrible or unpleasant. And that's in number 2 in types of lexical relations.
Antonymy is precisely like opposite to synonym and also is the state of phenomenon in which the words have their sense relation which involve the opposite of meaning. The concrete form of the antonymy is called antonym or opposite. With antonymy, we are concrete with construction which are opposite to one another with respect to lexical relationship. For example, eyes, hot, beautiful, ugly, and big, small. These words have meanings which are opposite to one another, and these opposite meanings come into forms categorical and continuous. The categorical distinction is one that has two categories that contrast one another. For example, fire, water. These are categorical because there is no continuum between them. That is, less fire never means more water, and less water never means more fire. Comparatively, antonyms that are on a continuum are construction like big, small. This is due to the relative nature of these words, meaning when we call a horse small, it may be relative to something else like another horse, and when that same horse is compared yet again, it might be the case that the horse is now big. So the meanings between big and small are on a continuum relative to the object of discussion. The term antonymy comes from the ancient Greek words name and against, literally is another name for another object, or some say that antonymy is the optional meaning in lexical pairs that can be elaborated the meaning relationship that exists between synonym, homonymy, hyponymy, and polysemy is a relationship of similarities, while antonymy, on the other hand, is used to describe the opposite meaning. Antonymy is a relationship between words that are describe the opposite meaning. Antonymy is a relationship between words that are considered to have a clash of meaning. At first glance, the contradiction in meaning seems very simple. For example, hot is opposite to cold, and up is opposite to bottom. Um, in general, there are those who think that they consist of certain pairs so that a word can only be contradicted by another word. In fact, it is recognized that this pairwise contradiction of meaning is one of the most important principles in the structure of language. And if investigated further, the problem is not as simple as it was initially thought. The problems we face are lexical and grammatical. 1. Is it true that a word can only be contrasted with one other word? 2. Whether paired contradictions are of the same nature. Um, Lyons also mentioned the concept of contradiction and contrary, which uses the relationship between the two types of contradiction. Analogous with a number of meanings of contradiction in meaning put forward by the contradiction of meaning in Indonesians as follows. 1 contrasts all kinds of contradiction in meaning and doesn't limit the number of words in the contradicting pair is the most common meaning. 2 opposite contradiction, which is limited to two true elements only. Third, 3 antonymy contradiction that can be measured and compared. 4 complementary contradiction that cannot be measured or compared. 5 conversions, the contradiction contained in a reciprocal relationship of words.
Polysemy. Polysemy is the term that refers to a word. It has a set of different meanings which are related. Polysemy has received significant attention in research on lexical semantics, as aspects of word meaning are often systematically related through alternation that shed light on general cognition. Polysemy deals with constructions that have multiple meanings. For example, head or over. The word head can be used to refer to the top of someone's body. Example: Jane received a head injury. Another example: it can be used to refer to the front of a line. Jane is at the head of the line. It can also be used to refer to how prepared someone is. Jane is way ahead of the curve. She already read the chapter for the next week. Is a polysemous since it has many meanings. Another word with many meanings is over. The word over can be used more ways than countable. For example, she lives over there is a different from she lives over the hill. Even furthermore, the lid is over the pot and is it over yet are both different from one another and the two previously mentioned examples. The word over, as said already, has more meanings than countable. Okay, next presenter, time is yours.
My name is Ratumas Milaawati Putri. I want to tell you about homonymy. Homonymy are unrelated meanings of words that either sound the same homophones or are written the same homographs. Examples of homophones of the word right and right correct are shown below with links between simplified phonological PS, syntactic SS, and conceptual structures CS. Look at the example. Phonological right, syntactic adjective, conceptual structures correct, orthography right. Conceptual structures opposite of left, orthography right. Syntactic noun, for example, plus abstract. Conceptual structures just or legal claim, orthography right. Conceptual structures ritual, orthography right. For example, posthuman. Conceptual structures craft person, orthography right. Syntactic verb, conceptual structures place upright, orthography right. Conceptual structures put in writing, orthography right. Next, dialectal difference in pronunciation mean that not all speakers of English share the same homonyms. For example, writer and rider, or coat and cat may or may not have identical phonology depending on the speech community. Another aspect of homonymy in need of clarification is that true homonyms are perceived as having unrelated semantics, even if there is sometimes a historical connection between meanings, while there often also exist sets of related meanings of a given phonological word. When different senses of the same phonological word are related in identifiable ways, this is termed polysemy. Thus, right in the sense of correct is closely linked to such meanings as right conduct, just, proper, the right class, suitable, appropriate, or the right way round, principal size of an object. The distinction between homonymy and polysemy is reflected in many dictionaries, as homonyms usually have separate entries, while polysemous items are listed under a single entry. Thus, back one, the harsh sound made by a dog is kept distinct from its homonym. Bark 2, the protective covering of a tree, and bark 3, a kind of boat. Within these entries, polysemous use is listed in terms of nuances or aspect or of meaning, including related shifts in syntactic category. So, bark 1 may cover usage such as noun 1, the bark of a dog, of a dog, noun 2, similar sound such as chalk or gunfire, verb 1, to make the sound of a bark, and verb 2, to speak gruffly, etc. Examples from the American Heritage Dictionary.
Well, finally, we are almost finished and we are arriving at a conclusion. And I will read the conclusion. Meaning can generally be grouped into the two large groups, namely the basic meaning and the broad meaning of the denotative meaning, cognitive, descriptive, and connotative meaning, or the motive. The relationship between the word or symbol, meaning, concept, and reference, and something that is referred to reference is an indirect relationship. This relationship is described by means of a pretext called a semiotic triangle. There are a few common types of lexical relationship. They are synonym, antonym, hyponym, and polysemim. And also neither one is homonym. Well, they are all of our presentation. If you have a question, please ask to our group. And if if we do a mistake, forgive me, because we are still learning, and this is always be learning. And thank you. And this is also the reference. If you want something more interest about our material, I close as a intro as a moderator, and I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next time.